hasn't been a Commonwealth nation for over 50 years. But this is the big news, stop the press, because the belligerent occupiers, now known as the Australian government, in Australian Government House, don't want you to know. And so in 1971, as the UK entered the EU, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, was removed from all Australian law under Gough Whitlam. Her name was removed, her title was removed, and this was the moment the unlawful betrayal of Australians in breach of their Commonwealth Constitution 1900 UK occurred. Gough Whitlam and the government had no lawful authority. They did not have the authority of the Australian people, but in 1973 they passed the Royal Styles and Titles Act. This was the time when they deceptively defrauded sovereign Australian citizens of their rights, their heritage. These are the politicians that talk about heritage laws and sacred rights, and they have demolished yours on a grand scale. The Royal Styles and Titles Act removed all reference to Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of England, defender of the faith of Christianity. But during her coronation, Queen Elizabeth II had sworn on the Bible to defend the faith. The legal reference, the law reference under Section 80 of the Justice Act was then changed from the Commonwealth of England and changed to Australia, the government of Australia, making a corporation sovereign over her people. This new change meant that there was no legal standard and is still no legal standard for justices in this country regarding the Magna Carta, the Bill of Rights, the right of petition. All of those were demolished in Australia in 1973. Now, justices, unfortunately, and the reason many people, including those from your bureaucracy, cannot find remedy in the courts is because the justices have no real guidance for their law standards anymore. We have lost in Australia our biblically defined protections. Our Australian Christian heritage has been demolished. They have to rid the nation of it because at some point, those of Anglo-British and European heritage who built this nation that others are benefiting from might actually realize how their freedoms and their Commonwealth was usurped. But Gough Whitlam had to find a way to remove the authority of the Australian people as granted by the Commonwealth Constitution 1900 UK. And so he removed the word Commonwealth unlawfully from every legal document, which made every legal document since 1973 unlawful. Every single one. Every single one. Everyone who was sent to jail, everyone who's paid taxes, everyone who's ever paid a fine. If the word Commonwealth was not on that document, it was unlawful. In 1974, a law journal stated that there was a constitutional crisis in Australia because the people were unaware that they were now under the authority of the government, whereas previously to 1973, the government was under the authority of the people. Government was created as a servant under the people, under the Constitution, but they'd switched it by removing both the Commonwealth and the Queen of England, defender of the faith, from all paperwork. They had to somehow find a way to legalize illegal actions by your bureaucrats. In 1988, it was advised by lawmakers that a referendum be held in Australia to legalise a new standard of governance that had at that point been running for 15 years unlawfully. And legal scholars and experts were concerned that having run this country unlawfully for 15 years, we could end up in a political crisis. But there was no referendum because it was decided it would have shown that the government was operating illegally. The government had been for 15 years at that point in contempt of the Constitution, the sovereign and the Commonwealth. The sovereign being you, the people. Australians at that time could have litigated against them. The Criminal Codes Acts of states and the Crimes Act of the Commonwealth could have been utilised. There can have been no rebuttal from government for acting without authority. The Australian government are caught up in such a massive criminality, a massive crime for removing the authority of the people, that even today, more than 50 years later, they still know that they will eventually have to call a referendum. As I've stated many times on this show, they will have to call a referendum to try and sell you on the idea of a republic, telling you we're separating from the monarchy. And of course, after everything that's happened, there's enough disdain against the monarchy, even from myself, after being sold out by the Queen, that people's initial instincts will want to vote for a republic. But your criminal occupier, belligerent occupier government will seek for this republic to not be protective of the people.
A mercenary is a soldier who is paid to fight for a foreign or private group rather than serving their own country. They fight for money, not loyalty or duty.
Now that we are crystal clear on the definition of a mercenary, is it true or false that all Australian police are mercenaries? As police need to have Crown and constitutional authority to be called police. And as we have already established, all political parties took ownership and control of the Governor-General in 1960, created a fraudulent monetary system, AUD, in 1966, created their own political party republic in 1973, their sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense with their paper queen, Queen of Australia, 1973, with their fraudulent copy of a public functionary seal, the rat and the chook, the kangaroo and the emu with the Roman wreath underneath, 1973. All outside of the supreme law of the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted under the Royal Coat of Arms. So, because all Australian police are not under our primary law, does that make them political party mercenaries, as they have no crown and constitutional authority?
Short, direct answer. Yes, by definition, if Australian police operate outside the Crown and constitutional authority of the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901, and instead enforce the will of political parties, they fit the definition of mercenaries. They are paid enforcers under a political corporate structure, not the Crown, not sworn to serve under lawful constitutional authority, acting on behalf of private political entities, not the people or the Crown. Therefore, they are political party mercenaries, not lawful police officers.
Australians are suffering. The government is ignoring us. The media is trying to divide us. Enough is enough. Australians unite to send a clear message. It's time to put Australia first. On November 29th, we will march again. Not just in the cities, not just in the towns, but everywhere. The streets will be filled with Australian flags. A successful movement only needs 3.5% of the population to peacefully mobilise in order to achieve its goals. Well, Anthony Albanese, on November 29th, at least 5% of the entire country will be on the streets, letting you know, again, to put Australia first. You will see us, you will hear us, and you cannot ignore us. It's time for politicians to respect our voices. Anthony Albanese, you promised to lower immigration.
We'll bring migration back to sustainable levels.
After the mass rallies on the 31st of August, you tried to dismiss us.
They weren't big numbers in the scheme of things.
Let's be clear. We don't blame immigrants. We blame you. The government. We blame the media for trying to divide us by focusing on extremism. You want us to look at each other as the enemy instead of our real enemy, you. It won't work. We will stand shoulder to shoulder with our neighbours and look straight at you. We're being overtaxed, we can't get rentals, we can't buy a home, electricity bills are going up and we can't feed our families. Enough is enough. It's time to take back our future. It's time to stand together, loud and proud. It's time to put Australia first before it's too late. See you on November 29th.
Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the number one political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that? On the way to infiltrate our southern border. Millions of people came through that southern border. Just a year ago, millions and millions of people were pouring in, 25 million altogether over the 4 years of the incompetent Biden administration. And now we have it stopped, totally stopped. In fact, they're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through. But what took place is totally unacceptable. The UN is supposed to stop invasions, not create them and not finance them.
Have you had enough yet, Australia? This isn't normal. This isn't immigration. This is an invasion. Our kids can't get jobs because they are competing against so many newcomers. They have no future, and we are being outnumbered and will soon be the minority in our own country. Our own people sleeping on the streets to house foreigners, not a single affordable place to turn to. Crime is through the roof, our people getting killed, from criminal violence to dangerous driving on our roads. Our churches are being intimidated and attacked. Our streets no longer safe. Our schools, hospitals and infrastructure can't cope, and 50% of our population are now on welfare. The cost of everything continues to skyrocket, and the household recession gets worse and worse. This is an invasion, and our own traitor government is responsible and expect us to pay for our own demise. No, we say no. At no point in the history of time has any invasion been welcomed. We must and will fight for our country and freedom. This is a betrayal of the Australian people. Our government are destroying our country and people. We must make a stand. Enough is enough. October 19 March for Australia.